In this demonstration, I'm going to show you how to enroll a device in MDM. I'm going to use Intune in this case. What I'm doing is I'm going to use Microsoft Authenticator, which is signed in already as myself as a user. So I've got a corporate sign in on Microsoft Authenticator, which means that when I launch Microsoft Company Portal, and I click sign in, it's going to automatically authenticate against Authenticator. So I get a transparent single sign-on into that, and this is all about user experience as much as anything. And so when we sign in and we enroll and we say, okay, Safe March, my company owns this device, click continue, click through the security pieces or the informational pieces. It's going to connect in, it's going to download the management profile for the MDM, which I allow it to download, and I click close. I'll follow the instructions to the letter, click continue, and it's now going to say, okay, this is what you do to install the profile, and I can then come into my settings, see the profile, click install, and allow it to install all of those settings. It goes off and it gets its enrollment certificates, it gets some SCEP certificates for the device identifier. We want to say, okay, do we trust it? Of course we trust it. It's part of the MDM process. Once that's completed, we click done, and we can see that the profile will appear here. It's got the SCEP information, everything. And I come back across to Company Portal and tell it that I installed the profile, and I've got to categorize this device. This is an unsupervised device. Of course, the alternative ways to enroll devices is by using DEP, Device Enrollment Program, or connecting them to your computer and supervising them, and then they're fully managed and can be corporately owned. In this case, this is analogous to the BYOD device, a personal device which we want to access company resources, but we're going to restrict what can be done once it's enabled. And there's obviously varying levels that need to meet different company security requirements. But in this case, I've got a personal device which is an unsupervised device. It hasn't been built from scratch as part of the organization. Well, we're going to install the profile. I've already got Client Connector running on, not running. I've got Client Connector installed on this device. So it's prompting me to say, do you want to let Zscaler manage it, or let this organization manage it? Yes, I do. If I hadn't clicked that, it would still push the profile. But the alternative is Zscaler Client Connector wasn't installed, and the MDM would have pushed Client Connector as a managed app to the device. And by having that Client Connector pushed to the device and it's managed, it's going to get this configuration on here. So we'll take a look at this configuration. This is saying, okay, this is my specific one for unmanaged devices. We filtered it for the unsupervised devices here. And there's a payload here that's basically saying it's got an on-demand but always-on VPN, which is always going to connect. And it's got some profiles in here. The domain is welshgeek.net. Strict enforcement mode is on. It's going to go to the Zscaler 2 cloud. And then there's an exclude list of things that shouldn't be blocked by the strict enforcement mode. Strict enforcement mode says you have to be going through Zscaler, otherwise you can't access anything. And so we need it to go to the Zscaler IDPs. Sorry, not IDPs, the service providers as part of the SAML SSO, and we need it to continue to be able to get stuff from the MDM as well as the Microsoft IDP Authenticator URLs. And that's all set up there. The other configurations we've got are around Client Connector notifications. We want notifications to always be enabled for Client Connector, so I've got a profile for that. The root certificate for my domain, and then this final one, which is Microsoft Authenticator. And so the Microsoft Authenticator settings is the extension that says the apps, com.zscaler, com.apple, com.microsoft, are able to retrieve the identity from the Authenticator application and use those for single sign-on. And then I've got a couple of other settings here because Zscaler essentially implements the browser embedded in it. We're saying, okay, you can interactive enable SSO interaction enabled, and I don't need to explicitly prompt the user to be able to do that SSO. So we get transparency by doing that for these applications. So if we come across to our devices now and we look at my iOS device, you can see it's now identified it, Mark 15, iPhone 15, and we can see that the configurations should have been pushed to the device. There's a couple that weren't because they're for my supervised devices. So if we let's come back across here and we'll take a look at the settings. We can see those settings, my Zscaler app settings. We've got the SCEP certificates. We've got that Authenticator extension. And we can see we've also got the VPN configured, and you see it's already connected. If I try and disconnect it, it'll automatically reconnect. And if I try and open a session, you see the VPNs come back up. If I go to 888.com, I'll get blocked because of that strict enforcement mode is blocking those apps. So if I launch Zscaler Client Connector here, you'll see it'll automatically sign in now. It'll go to ZIA and enroll. It'll go to ZPA and enroll. And once it's done that, I'm transparently authenticated. And it was using Microsoft Authenticator to do that SSO. So although it didn't prompt, it automatically connected and went there. And we see that ZIA is connected, ZPA is connected. And if I come back to my incognito browser now, I should be able to access. Probably 888.com is getting blocked because it is a gambling website. But if I come across here and I go to ip.zscaler.com, I should. That's interesting. We'll go to tell me what my IP address is. Okay, 165.225, which I know is a Zscaler IP address. It tells us ISP is Zscaler. So what we have is the device is managed. It's in strict enforcement mode. So if I was try and sign out, I could put a password protection on this as well to prevent sign out. So the device is enrolled. I can't disable the VPN because it's always on, and the traffic is passing through Zscaler at that point. Hope this is useful. Mark at zscaler.com.